Cody here. Welcome back to Project Chicken Hole, the series where I'm building a simulated Mars or Moon base out here in the Nevada desert. Let me turn off these fans so you can actually hear me. The greenhouse right now is functionally complete. The only thing is the door is not completely sealed and I can't pressurize it yet. That's why I've got Peter the Thinker here.
Hi!
So he's standing in as Cody's replacement. And also, he's the guy that built the spacesuit. He does all sorts of pressurized living systems. And so he's basically here to keep me from dying, because I want to seal myself in here and pressurize it. And basically we're going to put this CO2 detector to work. So let me go through real quick what I've done since the last video. It's been a while. So first of all is this structure here, which is the new and upgraded radiator. So same as before, we've got cold water being pumped up through these pipes, and they're absorbing the heat from the air, which is also allowing the water to condense, and then it's going back out to those tanks along the side of the greenhouse. The main difference now is instead of brine, I'm just pumping fresh water. This is so if there's a leak, it'll just water the plants. And I've got the pump situated so it's like near the surface of the water. If it leaks a whole bunch of water out into the greenhouse, the pump will start running dry. So it can only pump like 100 gallons before it stops. But if that was brine, it would kill everything, even just a single gallon probably. But since I've replaced it with brine, the water can now freeze. So to mitigate freezing problems, which might burst pipes, might plug the pipes, I've got everything set up so that it completely drains when the pump shuts off. See, everything is on an angle, so all the water drains out of the system. That way if the pump fails during the winter, it's not going to block it up and cause problems. So the moisture is condensing out, as you can see. This little honeydew plant is loving it. They like distilled water. This system here, which is pulling air up, got a little bit of airflow right now, up to a condenser up on the hill, which cools the air, condenses water, it runs down into this barrel, and then through this line right here, sends the water back. The level of the water inside the barrel is right about this level, so I got it tapped off here. This pipe does continue. If it has a bunch of water, it'll just flow out there. But normally it just drips a little bit of water right here. And once this fills up, it'll bell siphon out, fill this chamber, and then that will run water off to these buckets right here. And then this lower one will run water out to this drip line tubing, which goes around the whole greenhouse. I'll come back when this is full so I can show you it working. So here it is, we're close to being full. Looks like it's starting to push the water out through the siphon. Yep, there it goes. You notice the water going through the drip line takes a while to run out, so it doesn't empty this completely oftentimes. Let's see, it'll just siphon out from here into here. And when that fills up, it'll cover these. And then it'll start to suck water out. If we look over here, you should see water spraying now. So that's watering my sweet potato in the bucket. That should also be coming out over here. Yep. Yeah, just a simple little bell siphon system. This gets the water that ends up going as vapor up through here and returns it back. This radiator, of course, inside also returns the water, but this just gives me some redundancy to the system and also waters the plants that aren't being directly dripped on. When this is sealed completely, there should be essentially no loss in water. The only water that I lose should be just what I pull out in the produce. And if I take the produce and put it somewhere with like a dehumidifier or something and dry it out, I could theoretically even recover that water. So, what plants have I got in here? I got some radishes. These are the ones that I left. Look at that. That's what I produced from this little area. I wanted to get some seed pods off of them. Unfortunately, they are infested with aphids. You can see actually all these little bugs that are sticking to the side of the container here, those are aphids in their flying stage. And you see I've got some ladybugs in here. They're eating the aphids. I think they definitely helped, but the aphid population just exploded and they weren't able to keep up. You can see one of the ladybugs likes to hang out on the fan. Fortunately, though, the aphids seem to only affect the brassica plants, so the kale, radishes, and turnips. And so if I remove all those plants, the aphids should have nothing to eat. I'm hoping that will reduce their population enough that the ladybugs can then mop them up. If not, I'm going to have to do a fumigation in here. So yeah, I've got some lettuce here, peas as I mentioned. These are sweet potatoes growing out of these buckets. I didn't want to grow them in the actual ground because then I'd have to dig for the tubers. Here's some strawberries. In fact, I got one that's overripe right here. Strawberries ripened on the plant is the best. You eat one of these. Oh, it just melts in my mouth. Such strong flavor. Strawberries are good. So, I've got this carrot plant in here. You can see it's about to go to seed. These are the carrots that I planted last year, and I've got more carrots here that I planted this year. They never really made a carrot. I'm thinking maybe the low light, they're just not sending the energy to the roots. But they are a pretty good green. Like, carrot leaves are pretty good. It's flavorful, even when dried. And so I'm just growing them for the greens. Carrots. And of course I'm growing more arugula rocket this year. If anything, for the tasty flowers. See, I got some cactuses here. These are the spineless prickly pear. I do have some tomato plants coming up. I planted them from seeds, so they're slow to take off. There's some onions, which also seem to do pretty well in here. Oh, here's a tomato, yeah. Again, there's not very much wind, so many of the plants are kind of spindly. See, there's more onions. This is a broccoli. This one here that's flowering is also a broccoli. The kale actually seems to make more broccoli than the broccoli plants. See this? These flower buds here? Let's pick a few of them. This here is broccoli. Tastes just like broccoli, which makes sense because it's actually the same species of plant. Just broccoli, as you know it, has been bred to produce larger flower clusters. But I can just pick these off and eat them. The kale actually seems to be pretty good in here. This is the second year stage of it. The only difference I would make is the kale and the lettuces need to be switched. The lettuce really doesn't like getting dripped on all the time. See, if we look at this this lettuce, which is just starting to bolt, you can see some of it is getting mold growth. So I need to put the lettuce over here where it doesn't get dripped on by the radiator. If you look down in here, you can see there's all kinds of moss growing because it's so humid and wet. The moss is just taking off. I don't mind it. It's not like it's toxic or anything, and it helps pull carbon dioxide out of the air. And I also have some metal pieces to the radiator this time. Since I'm using fresh water, I can get away with that. So these here are just oil coolers from a Ford SUV. I cut the ends off, cleaned off the oil. I was able to get a bunch of them pretty cheap from the local junkyard. And I just plumbed a few of them in line here. They work pretty good. I want to also put some like in these buckets here, kind of like that. Just plumb them in line. That way the condensation dripping off will help water these buckets. But I haven't done that yet. In fact, these pipes that I'm using to support the cactus plants, they were originally just to be structural, and then I realized, hey, I could run water through those. And maybe the metal would be, better to conduct the heat. And it turns out not really. The water seems to condense on the plastic pipes just as much as the metal pipes. I think it's all about surface area. So if I could replace these with plastic radiators, that'd make it even more chemically resistant. And like I said, this honeydew plant, which loves getting dripped on, like it's growing like crazy. You can see it's catching all the little aphids, the flying aphids. And it's so happy it's even flowering. You can see the stalk there. All right, let me actually plug these back in. Need to put a guard over them so the ladybugs don't fly into it. There we go, that's plugged in. So this is just a auxiliary pump that helps the AC pump move the air through. You'll notice that everything inside the habitat is 12 volt DC. This is because I didn't want to get electrocuted. It's always damp in here, so low voltage only. Let me actually head outside and show you the rest of the wiring that I got done. Okay, here I am outside. I'm gonna break a sim a little bit with this episode, although I do have this sun hoodie. I wear this when I'm outside to keep from getting burned. It doesn't pressurize, but it is necessary. So anyway, here's where the water lines come out of the greenhouse. You can see they slope down into the tank. You can see there's some wires, there's a fuse. Those go up into there. Got a ground here, there's a thermal probe, you may have seen it. And I've got this box for the AC power. This is to keep the rain and weather off of it. So this is the thermostat. It's currently 98 degrees Fahrenheit inside the greenhouse. It's set to kick on at 79, so it is currently running. There's the fan that's moving the air up to the condenser on the hill. There's a pump moving water from these tanks. And there's a little DC converter here. And this is actually running the fan that's inside the habitat. Again, I'm stepping down the voltage so that I don't have risk of being electrocuted. The AC power is being generated underneath of that. I took the power wagon apart, took its guts out, and I installed them down under here. And Peter helped me install a NPPT to charge the batteries off the solar. But I don't have that inverter running everything. There's a DC water pump, which is pumping water up through this pipe here. It's also running one of the fans. And that is running off of this battery and solar panel. I need to make a box for this, but for now I've just got it laying here. And there's a relay that's connected to this solar panel, which controls everything. So when there's no light, they turn off. When the sun comes out, they turn it back on. You might be able to hear them turning on and off. So that way I've got a completely independent system running at least part of the cooling. That way if the inverter fails for whatever reason, this should still function and vice versa. That way, hopefully, the greenhouse never overheats again. So the water is being pumped from these tanks up into the radiators inside the greenhouse, and they're absorbing the heat, and that water is just going right back into these tanks. So the water in these tanks is heating up. To get rid of that heat, I've got a light sensor here hooked to a fan right there and a pump. And that pump is running a antifreeze solution through this line here, through some copper tubing which goes down into this tank. That'll exchange heat from the water into the coolant, and that circulates through into this radiator and a fan which will blow air across it. So when it gets cold at night, I'll be able to get rid of heat, and in the day this kind of just acts as a thermal battery. You may have noticed some covers over the greenhouse that have appeared and disappeared throughout the video. And that's because I'm still working on the design. In fact, I think I'm gonna take this back off and try again. But the idea is to give it a dead air space between the inner and outer plastic layers to help insulate it in the winter. And in the summer, put some shade cloth on here to keep the sun off of it so it doesn't get too hot. And that provides a gap so the heat doesn't directly transmit into the greenhouse. So anyway, I'm gonna head back up to the camper hab. Peter's already up there. We're gonna build a new door for the greenhouse, one that seals, that we can pressurize.
Welcome back to the sewing shop. So this is gonna be the door for the greenhouse eventually. It consists of this TPU covered nylon that is used, actually the same material we use for Cody's spacesuit. And then a similar zipper, an airtight dry suit zipper, designed for up to 5 PSI. We're going to sew this on using a Joann's special from that old place, and add some seam grip WP, make it all airtight.
All right.
This should all hold at least 5 PSI over ambient.
All right.
Oh boy.
Yes. So you're just going to sew the zipper on and then like make it in 2 halves, right?
Yep. We're going to use the form, the pressed gas tank thingy as my pattern. We're going to drape the fabric, as it's called in the industry. I have to use my elbow here because...
What kind of thread are you using?
What came with it? That's it. That's all we have.
Oh.
I wish I had a little more space for the foot pedal down here. This is an awfully short cable they give you. It is like the most measly, most basic. I'll make it work though. Got the left hand drive this thing.
There you go.
Oh boy.
Yeah, now I am.
So we've already got one part in here. We're going to add some seam grip here, and that'll help make it airtight. And that's how it's going to work. And then we're going to heat bond on here a patch on the other side. And that'll make this whole thing completely airtight.
Cool. All right, explain what we're doing here.
Okay, so welcome back. We're going to use this old natural gas tank as my inspiration. If we do it like this, it's going to tear, right?
Right, so it can't be a flat plane.
So put it here, ignore down there. I mean, this is going to be shorter in the end. This will then open like that.
All right, because as you open it, the ends want to like go,
right, but
go up.
But if they're going like this, not like this, that's a nice clean opening.
Okay, so you're gonna like make a bubble the shape of this tank.
Yep, but way shorter.
But shorter, but the length of the zipper.
Yep.
And then the rest of it can be flat.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's really simple stuff, honestly.
All right. Okay, old door removed. New door installed. There it is. I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? Yeah, go ahead and show us how it works.
Okay, so the idea behind this door is pretty simple. We created a system like this so they can open up more wider by having it bulge out like this.
Yeah, should I see if I can get through it?
Yeah.
Hold that. Should I push it in?
You probably can, yeah. Shouldn't be a problem in the slightest. There you go.
Step through. Still a little wet.
Let's see if it holds air.
Alright, let's zip it up.
Zip it up. And Cody's going to use this little shop vac here.
Yeah, so it's just
pump it up.
I got a one-way valve here, so air can go in, but it can't come back out.
Oh, look at that.
It's pressurizing. I think we got a little leak here, but it's not bad.
Yep. Little seam grip.
And the zipper's holding.
Oh yeah. This should hold 5 psi. That's plenty. And look, the lung is rising.
Alright, should we see if it holds pressure? That's not sitting down. Alright, it's still kind of in the middle of the day, so it's going to be real hot, but I kind of want to get in there and see how it is to be sealed inside. A little pressure gauge here. It's yeah, so out here, it shows kind of doxing my altitude, but let's get on in. Let's open it up again.
The air is hissing right out.
Yeah, you can see
The lung going.
lung sinking down now.
It's working.
Right, so I'm gonna film from inside.
When you think go, I can't film the
Right, yeah.
I zip you up?
Yep.
Let me know. Ready?
Yep. Yeah, so as the pressure increases, it's as if I'm going down in altitude. I've already gone 100 feet. Yeah, ears are popping. Yeah, it's pressurizing. Yeah, we passed 5,500. Yeah, the design needs work, but it is functioning. It is holding back that pressure. Is the lung lifted?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. Can I go ahead and turn the vacuum off?
Vacuum up.
Okay. So we've gone down. That was like 300-400 feet worth.
Other door?
Oh no, not yet. I just wanted to see if it's holding pressure. It totally is staying steady. I'm in a pressurized chamber. There's not a lot of pressure. It's just the equivalent of a few hundred feet of altitude, but you know, it surprises you how much of a difference that makes. Little fans. It's so humid in here, it doesn't even really feel cool to be in front of the fan. I'll be drenched in sweat if I stay in here too long. It was like 97 in here, and that's with the cooling system. It's basically like I'm trying to grow plants inside of a hot car. But I'm doing it. Alright, you want to open it up?
Yep.
Alright.
Oh my god, I can feel that. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Yeah, I felt my ears pop.
Perfect.
You step on out. You can see that dropping down.
Oh yeah. Feel it.
Alright, well at the very least, having that sealed like that will stop me from losing water, it'll stop the bugs from getting in, like even if it's not pressurized. Yeah, so I think the next thing to do is to install a cover over this to keep the sun off of it. Yeah, so I got this tank shroud. Just gonna put a couple of hinges on here and a latch. There we go. That covers it up so the sun doesn't cook it.
Looking pretty good, dude.
That's what I wanted to have for this episode. Yep. Yeah, definitely leaking out right there. Gonna have to do some leak busting, go around, plug up all the ones that I can find. But really, I'm never gonna get them all. Like even the space station leaks a little air. So I'll show you what we've come up with to resupply the air that leaks out.
So what we've got here is a compressor,
right,
and a storage tank. This holds enough air to help reinflate the hab. We've got up to around 60 psi. I can hold about 250 right now, and a low pressure gas regulator that then keeps the hab topped off in combination with the lung, the gasometer lung, in lieu of the shop vac.
Yeah, so this is an old CNG tank. It was designed to hold like 4,000 psi, but it's old and expired, and we're just using it for less than 100 psi of air. It's just a way to store air, so we don't have to have something running to keep the system pressurized. This is just all automatic, requires no power. Now right now there's no gas flowing because the gasometer is full and the habitat is pressurized. But if I go release some of the pressure, so I run around here and just undo the zipper or something, let the gasometer down.
Yep, I hear flow.
Okay, so the gasometer, once it's about halfway down, I'm going to zip this back up. Okay, I come back around. So I let most of the pressure out. There's still some pressure in there.
And there's still some flow here.
Yeah, so it's just
barely going.
I don't know if you can hear it.
Now back with it.
Yeah, it's just it's gonna bring it back up to about the middle point. That's where I've got it set to. So it'll just lift the gasometer and then that'll shut off. The idea is that it maintains at least some pressure in the system, but won't overpressurize it. I thought that was pretty ingenious.
It's a smooth regulator. That's what it is. Exactly.
All right, just tap on the door to confirm you can hear me. Okay. All right, do it again. All right, they're out there. I have turned on this fan to circulate the air. You can see it's nighttime. We're gonna do basically a baseline test. I got the time-lapse camera, CO2 detector. We're gonna see how much the CO2 changes over about an hour. I'm gonna set an alarm for an hour and 20 minutes. I'll just sit here and play on my phone and see how much CO2 I put into the atmosphere. And we'll do the same test again during the daytime to see what effect the plants have. Unfortunately, I do have to have some light for the time-lapse camera, but this is very small compared to the amount of light that the sun puts out. All right, so I sat here for an hour and 20 minutes. Let's see what we ended up with. 4863. So it's gone up by about 1,860 parts per million. Yeah. Easier to have somebody else open it for me. Alright, so I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna seal the door, and leave the time-lapse camera running. I'm doing the carbon dioxide tests with the system sealed but not pressurized. So it's the next morning. I'm gonna go in here during the day and we'll compare the CO2 levels. Actually, that was under a little bit of pressure because it got warm. So I spent an hour in here during the day. Let's see what the CO2 is. It did not go up as much. It still went up, but not as much. I'll have to review the footage and see exactly how much, but yeah. I'm actually going to leave the time-lapse and CO2 detector going, and I'm going to leave and then watch how fast it pulls the CO2 down. So I just analyzed the time-lapse footage, and at night, while I was sealed inside here, the CO2 levels increased by about 1,350 parts per million per hour. And then, when I left, the CO2 levels continued to increase by about 170 parts per million per hour. Now, the reason that the CO2 levels increased after I was gone is because the plants themselves produce CO2. In the day, they take in CO2 and they use sunlight to photosynthesize and make food, but at night, they then consume that food and they respire, making CO2 just like you and me. Fortunately, they tend to take in more than they put out. Also, the soil, the compost breaking down from bacteria, that's also releasing some CO2. So the greenhouse just makes CO2 on its own at night. And subtracting that value from the amount that it total went up, I myself was adding about 1180 parts per million per hour. You see a graph here. I'll put in some better photos. Anyway, the daytime test, the CO2 increased by 560 parts per million per hour. And then when I left, the CO2 continued to drop at a rate of 700 parts per million per hour. So this is really encouraging, because that means the plants that I have in here, this amount of plants, was consuming more than half of the CO2 that I was breathing out. If I had two of these greenhouses, if I had two identical greenhouses connected together, I could, in theory, be in here at rest, and the CO2 levels would not increase. Of course, at night, they would still increase. So I would need more greenhouses to compensate. But I think like 5 or 6 of them, I would be able to handle everything that I breathe out. That's really cool. Anyway, now that I've done my CO2 tests, I'm going to start ripping out some of these plants. I'm going to take out the moldy lettuce, the aphid-infested radishes. A lot of it I'm going to give to the chickens. In fact, one of the hens had disappeared. I thought something had got her, but one day she showed up with 5 baby chicks in tow. So I'll go give this to the baby chicks. They love picking the aphids off the leaves. And the rest of it, especially what's too far gone for even the chickens to eat, I'll just put in the compost and cycle the nutrients back through. In fact, I just got several more composters to increase my capacity. The idea is that as one fills up, I can stop adding to it and I can start adding to the next one in line. I'm currently adding to this one right here. So I'm going to continue tending to the plants. I'll probably do a lot of that off camera. It's getting too hot in here for me to work, even with the sunshades and the cooling system going. You can probably see me dripping buckets. So I think it's time we head out and play with the spacesuit. So this spacesuit that Peter has built for me is designed to handle 5 psi above ambient pressure, although we're only going to be taking it to 1 psi a day. It has a CO2 scrubber, takes CO2 out of the air that I breathe. It has oxygen tanks. It has a cooling system, so I'm not going to be as hot, hopefully. Like, it is a legit spacesuit that would work in space. In fact, at some point I'd love to try it out in a vacuum chamber, but that's far in the future. Let's get out here and go see what Peter's up to. So this is the knee joint, yeah?
Yeah, this is the improved knee joint. So by doing this, we got excess material in the front and back, so the knee can be moved around. Plus, the overall height can be brought up and down too, like this by 2 inches. So not only will it act as a knee joint, it also acts as an expansion joint to suit up for different size wearers. This is a direct copy of the Russian Sokol, aka Falcon, blue and white launch that you see commonly used on the Soyuz launches. I took their elbow joint and made it larger. Exact same pattern, just scaled up by 30%.
So what's the story of the Acme?
So I was trying to find a name for it. I name all the things I work on. And Acme stands for Advanced Cooling Maximum Endurance. Because this suit, unlike the old one I worked on, has up to an 8-hour EVA life support backpack runtime with the oxygen and the scrubber. And it has advanced cooling. This one runs an actual compressor-based, refrigerant-based cooling backpack, not just ice water. Yep, that's kind of what I thought.
Nothing to do with the Roadrunner cartoons, huh?
No! That was actually kind of a background name. I thought, oh god, meat.
So that's where the anvil came from.
Exactly.
So you're sifting the soda lime so it doesn't have any dust.
Yeah.
The dust is kind of harsh to breathe in. It's not like it's toxic or anything, but it kind of irritating. Yeah, the dust that came out right there. So this is the stuff he was just sifting to put into the suit. This is the scrubber material that absorbs CO2 from the air. So this is a mixture of calcium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide, and it also has an indicator. And this stuff that's been sitting out in the air for a little while, you can see, has turned purple because it's absorbed CO2 from the air. Alright, tools are in.
Yep, on the other side. Remove the nipple holes.
Okay.
Now, try to pull all the way up to her crotch. Yeah, you go. Do you want to like off your you can leg here. Click on the end of the seat. There you go. There you go. Now, you plug in the water cooling lines.
Okay.
There we go.
Remember, I had you put these holes here.
Yep.
For a reason.
Remember. There you go. Up your ass crack. Right there. Yeah, untake some things here. Okay, cool. What this does, if you can notice here, it allows his arms to move up and down a bit.
A bit.
It should be biased a little higher up, honestly.
Can we lift it a little higher?
Yeah. And see, if you go from the back.
Yeah, this cable moves.
Yeah, like that.
You want to get close up on that?
Yeah.
See?
So as they move, so one joint is like this, one joint is like this, and then this joint is kind of hinged like that. That's all there is to it. Up, let's go put your cross track in place in here. Let's go to the red overseat on. Cool. And I get all tied up for you here. make sure your T valve is closed. It is closed.
It's supposed to be.
We are good. And there we are.
Okay, backpack time. Oh, hi.
Actually, on these, it's easier to pull them apart temporarily, I think. I gotta get you some frost fittings they use for parachutes.
Oh, yeah?
And then they'll allow you to do like one-handed connects. There we go for that. There we go. Oh, wrong. I'm pointing on the wrong thing here. Put on these. Okay, let's sit down a tiny bit. Give her some. It's up there. That's it there. Then we take. Cut my nail again. Lovely. This hose right here goes to the air into the suit. Comes from the scrubber, so it removes all. This is all the cleaner air.
Cleaner. Doesn't filter out farts.
No, can't confirm. I gotta glue some place sometime. Right here, shear it so it'll go in a little easier.
Okay.
Don't poke me.
Yeah, it's got a sharp tip on them.
Oh yeah, it does. I'll just glue some place. There we go. That gives you a bit of an airflow back there.
Yeah. Gonna want that.
Cool.
Hey, can you hear me? Does it sound
Any
good?
words?
That doesn't sound like...
Oh, I can hear you just fine. Yeah.
Okay.
You're on excellent. You sound good on the sound.
Alright. Sound is good. Nipples are tight.
No, let's put the waist strap on, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. And then control panel.
Yeah, where's that go?
Onto this.
Okay.
Like so.
I can read the voltage.
That was the entire idea.
You want to grab the gloves?
Sure. Make sure I got gas ready to go. Cool, there you go. Now, gloves.
They're right behind me right here.
Oh, mine or yours? What do I use?
Let's do mine.
Okay. It's like a 1970s Squire, especially in knight in armor.
Yep.
There you go. Gloves are in.
Are you ready for the helmet?
Yeah.
Alright, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Alright, let's see if I can...
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, about there. Yeah.
So I can't lift my arms very high. It's like something stopping me. But other than that, I can move around. I just can't, like...
Yeah, I think your bra is kind of low.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out how to have a bra there. There you go. You're at pressure.
What's that?
You're at pressure. You're good.
Okay. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Alright.
Do you want on the internal?
Plug into this?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're on suit power.
Go.
Make sure I can kneel down so I can pick stuff up. Yep.
They're good.
I can taste a little soda lime because I probably shook it up. Hey, is there a place I could put this?
Not on you directly yet, no.
Is there a place I could like hang this hammer?
Not right now, there isn't a place, no.
So I'll just have to carry it?
Yeah.
Alright. I wanted to see if I could get in here. Stop me if it like comes close to hitting the backpack.
Oh, you are down. You got it too close. Too close. No, not big enough hold. Nope.
I don't think I'm gonna fit.
Nope.
That's not gonna work. Alright, let's go climb some rocks, I guess. Here. I'm like over here. Yeah. Let me rock. Okay. I'm gonna try to climb this hill here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna head back to the landing pad.
Okay. You want to try again the Segway? Or no?
Hey, hold me.
I gotcha. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah. You okay? Doing okay?
Yeah. Okay. How do I get off?
I got you. Just step on that.
I'm stuck.
Ignore it.
Is that okay?
That's fine. That's normal. Let's get out of the suit.
How do I get out if I'm on my own?
That is, you bleed it out.
Okay.
There's that. You can do this right here. You can access the things.
Just need to get the backpack off.
Pull these across on here. There you go.
Is it good?
You're clear.
Okay. Alright. It's so much cooler.
That was the fun part. Do not fart. No farting allowed. There you go. Now we're gonna pull the bra side to side.
All right.
Okay. Now to get out, you're gonna moon the back of the moon. That's right. You're gonna twerk. That's right.
Can we get this headset off so I don't ruin it?
Yeah. There you go.
I'm a beautiful butterfly.
Probably easier to get out than it is to get on, let's be honest here. Do you need a bucket? Okay. So I need to add another 3 inches to your bra in front so it can ride higher. Oh! That's what that was. That also, I need glue in the air tube.
Gonna have to let it dry now.
You're gonna air that thing out. Upside down.
Cooling needs work, I think.
Yeah. I didn't figure out where the heck the cake of the hose is.
And the not being able to lift my arms was the only other problem. Other than that, yeah, I was able to walk around.
So arms and cooling are the 2 things to tackle, right?
Yeah. Other than that, like I was able to walk around and do stuff.
Yeah, but your arms have to be out. The knees work.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't do that in my suit, even at 1 psi. Getting closer.
Yeah. So to sum up, I've got a suit that can pressurize and a greenhouse that uses basically no water and is completely sealed so the bugs can't get in. Like bases coming together. I'm super excited. At the very least, this is going to make one heck of a fallout shelter one day. I need to get this other greenhouse back online, and that tunnel that I keep alluding to, I need to start digging that. In fact, I think next episode I'm going to try to bring the backhoe out here. But yeah, I'm super excited. I know it's taking a while, but you know, I'm doing it. I'm making it work. Thank you to everyone that's helped me out, the patrons that are sending me money, Peter who supplied his craftsmanship and engineering know-how. Speaking of which, we're going to be at Open Sauce this year. If you haven't got tickets, there's still time. I'm going to be demoing the suit again, walking around in it, this time with the suit completely complete. It's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.